Alright guys, I just want to give you an early heads up. I am going to be giving you a rapid uploading of movie reviews like this within the next week or so in order to get ready to put together my top 10 best films of the year list. So I'm just giving you an early warning. Don't be scared, but I am going to destroy your feeds with videos of movie reviews, okay? Just be ready. Anyway, hey there guys, what's up? It's Autobot Mike 18 here with another movie review. Kind of movie review that's a little bit overdue in that this film was released almost 2 months ago and I'm just watching it now. But anyway guys, as I said in the intro, I'm going to be doing a ton of movie reviews in the next week. Catching up on a lot of 2014 movies I haven't yet seen this year, movies I skipped this year for various reasons, movies that didn't come to my theater, but I'm finally getting a chance to watch them all now and review them all for you now in order to post my top 10 of the year video. And the film I'm going to be reviewing in this video, guys, is a film that came out in October, and I'm just watching it now, but it was given a wide release, but it still didn't come to any one of my theaters. And the movie I'm going to be talking about, guys, is Men, Women, and Children. Sorry I do not have a poster for the film in that, and I'm also upset I don't have a poster because, in my opinion, this was one of the better looking posters of 2014, but I didn't get a print one out. I just watched the movie a couple hours ago. Now guys, Men, Women, and Children is from director Jason Reitman. You may know him for directing Juno, probably his best film, and Up in the Air, which I haven't seen, and he also recently directed Labor Day, I believe. And now he's directed Men, Women, and Children with a completely huge cast, a lot of different characters in this film. And this film, I believe, was released at TIFF, and then it got an October limited release, and then a mid-October wide release, and it still hadn't come to my theater. And I had been wanting to see this movie for a very long time, ever since I watched the trailer, because after I saw the trailer, it immediately got me hooked. I'm like, I can't wait to watch this. And I think one thing a lot of people were worried about when watching the trailer, myself included, was that this film looked way too similar to another film that came out last year called Disconnect, which is another film that tells several storylines and they concern the internet and all that, and that's exactly what this movie does. I'm going to talk more about that a little bit later on. What I would like to do right now is get into the plot behind Men, Women, and Children. I suggest you guys also get a pen and paper and start writing this stuff down because there's no way you're remembering all these storylines, okay? There's got to be at least 8 different storylines and subplots going on in this film. But the overall overriding message that is happening or being displayed within Men, Women, and Children is that we rely way too heavily on the internet, on social media, on technology, on smartphones, all that, iPads, all that stuff. We rely way too heavily with our relationships with other people and in order to feel certain emotions. To feel loved, to feel wanted, to feel desired, to feel like accepted, to feel like you matter. We rely way too heavily on social media and the internet in order to feel that way and in order to have or establish the relationships that we have. That is the overriding message behind all the different storylines and subplots going on within Men, Women, and Children. Now what I'm going to do is briefly summarize each storyline in the film. Okay, here we go. Let's do this. One of the main storylines, we have a married couple played by Rosemary DeWitt and Adam Sandler. Yes, guys, Adam Sandler is in a drama. Who would have ever thought? Okay, they are playing a married couple. Their marriage is slowly crumbling. They just don't have that spark. They don't sleep with each other enough. And both of them head to the internet to find a way to feel better about themselves. Adam Sandler finds an escort agency. Rosemary DeWitt sets up a profile on an AshleyMadison.com dating website. And both of them are going to be unfaithful to each other. Then we have Judy Greer playing a mother who is helping her aspiring actress daughter become an aspiring actress, get a shot at a reality TV show. They set up a website for her. She sets up a website for her daughter, and she's taking provocative, questionable pictures of her daughter. We don't know what's going on with that. Then we have a young boy who's playing a lot of computer games, dealing with family issues. This young boy is played by Ansel Elgort, and his father is played by Dean Norris. and Ansel Elgort is struggling here, and he meets a girl that, he feels comfortable around, and this girl is played by Caitlin Dever, and Caitlin Dever's life is being completely messed up because her mother, played by Jennifer Garner, is a completely overbearing, overprotective mother that is watching over her text messages, her emails, her Facebook account, her Twitter, all of that, and she is completely shutting her down and keeping her isolated from these social media platforms. And then we have an anorexic teen girl who wants to lose her virginity. And then we have Adam Sandler's son who has a porn addiction. And that, my friends, is basically every single storyline that is going on within men, women, and children. Did you guys get all that? Did you get all that information? Did you write that all down like I told you guys? Oh man, why? That is just way too much for one movie. I mean, whoever wrote this, I think Jason Reitman also wrote the script. When you're sitting down in a room with script advisors or whatever, in a board of meeting of people, and you're talking about writing a script for this feature-length film that is only like 2 hours long, whose idea was it to have this many storylines in one film? I don't know, but in my opinion, that wasn't a great idea. So anyway, guys, men, women, and children, here it is. It's a movie that is really ambitious. I mean, this movie has such high ambitions in what it is trying to do, trying to tell us this main message of how we rely on the internet and social media to feel wanted, to feel important, to feel special, to establish relationships, but I feel that it is way too overfilled and way too overstuffed with way too many storylines and too many subplots, two of which aren't even concluded properly at the end of the film. In my opinion, at least 2 different storylines could have been cut out from this movie entirely. You know what? I think the movie did a good job. I think another one of the purposes of this movie was to connect with the audience. In that, the audience members who are going to be watching this film are going to be young adults, young teenagers who are over 17, and adults. And I think every single storyline in this film, at least one person should be able to connect with at least one of the storylines going on in this film. I, for one, connected with at least 2 different storylines that were happening in this movie, and I feel everyone should. I think teen girls will connect with Caitlin Dever's storyline. I think, and that acting girl. I think teen boys will connect with Ansel Elgort to an extent, and that kid who's addicted to porn. I think adults will connect with Adam Sandler and Rosemary DeWitt's characters. I think they'll also connect with Dean Norris and the trouble he's going through. Some might even connect with Julie Greer, which was one of the odder stories, if you ask me. But I think everyone will connect to at least one of these. My problem is that there was just way too much going on. It was like information overload. It's not like I had trouble following anything in the film. It's just I was sitting there and I'm like, all right, we got a lot going on here. How are they going to wrap this all up within the next 20 minutes? And they didn't, because 2 storylines were just like completely forgotten about. It's just like the writers were like, all right, we got to get this Adam Sandler thing wrapped up. All right, let's wrap that up. Let's wrap up the Dean Norris storyline. All right, let's get that done. Ansel Elgort's got to be taken care of. All right, we're good with that. And then when they had the final cut of the movie done, they're like, oh crap, we forgot to wrap up the storyline of the porn addict kid and the girl who has the provocative, and the girl who has the provocative pictures online. That they just like completely forgot about that stuff. All right, and I just didn't feel that even the girl who's suffering from anorexia in the film, I feel that storyline wasn't even fully wrapped up quite nicely like it should have been. And that's really where the problems lie within this film. Apart from the fact that the movie has some great messages about our reliance on social media, our reliance on the internet and technology and all of that, and how we're really losing that sense of communication with one another because of our reliance on the internet and all of that, and how much we connect with others through social media. I mean, there are shots of people in malls and people in schools. Everybody's on their phone. You have the little text boxes popping up on screen showing what people are doing on their phones, and the movie just really tries to stress the fact that we rely way too heavily on technology, smartphones, internet, all of that. All of that is shown heavily and depicted heavily through this film. Now, I know this review is starting to go all over the place, but this movie is starting to go all over the place. It's a film I feel is important to an extent. It's a film I feel everyone, at least everyone who watches it, will connect with at least one of the storylines. And for that reason, I can recommend this movie enough. Another thing that I don't think helped this movie is the fact that it was released just shy of a year of Disconnect's release. Disconnect was released last year, and I have that bad feeling that as Jason Reitman and the whole crew were working on this film, as soon as they heard a disconnect, they started to get scared a little bit, because literally both films have some of the same similar themes, and both films have several different storylines. Granted, Disconnect is a lot more concise, to the point, and I think it's a lot more dramatic, and I really connected with that movie a lot more. I think that's overall the better film. Men, Women, and Children, there's just way too much going on, even though I think you can definitely relate to some of the storylines that are happening in this film, which is, in my opinion, the most important aspect of Men, Women, and Children, even though it's such a shame that both films were released so close next to each other, Disconnect and Men, Women, and Children. But, yeah, guys, that's really what I have to say. I'm going to get into my rating now for Men, Women, and Children. I'm going to go high, but not too high. I'm going to give this film a solid... I'm going to give it a solid 8.25 out of 10. That's probably a grade of a B or a B minus. Yeah, I'll go B. A solid B for Men, Women, and Children. I think it's an incredibly well-acted film. I didn't even get to the performances. I'm not really going to go that deep, but everyone was really, really good in the movie. Ansel Elgort, who I loved in The Fault in Our Stars, was really good in this. Dean Norris from Breaking Bad, of course, is incredible. Judy Greer, who's mainly a supporting actress, had more of a leading role in this. She was good. Jennifer Garner was very, very good. Adam Sandler, who... It could have been so easy for me to just look at his character throughout this film and say, oh my god, that's the same Adam Sandler from Grown Ups. I can't take him seriously. I completely took Adam Sandler 100% seriously in this movie. I did not see Adam Sandler in Grown Ups. I saw a very serious side of Adam Sandler that I don't think I've ever seen, and this is probably one of my favorite performances of his to date, because he's not playing an idiot in this movie, okay? Thank you, Adam Sandler, for actually starring in a good role, for once. Also, Caitlin Dever is very good in the film as well. J.K. Simmons even pops up in this movie, and I'm like, oh god, it's Terrence Fletcher from Whiplash, and I couldn't help but see Terrence Fletcher from Whiplash the entire time J.K. Simmons was on the screen. I don't even see him as J. Jonah Jameson anymore. I just see him as Fletcher from Whiplash. That's it. But yeah, the cast is absolutely incredible, guys. One of the better ensembles of the year, in my opinion. The film is very well written. It's very moving in moments. It's very tense towards the end. It's very dramatic. And I liked how I personally connected with at least two different things that were happening in this film. And I'm proud to admit that I connected with those storylines. And I think that the filmmakers did a good job of making this film relatable and connectable. So I applaud Jason Reitman for that. The film was also very well shot and directed by Jason Reitman. But getting back to the flaws, the film is just way too overstuffed, overloaded with plot points and subplots, one of which I connected with, actually, but it just wasn't even wrapped up perfectly in the end, and another one that's just completely forgotten about by the end of the film. They had way too much going on here. There were also some very dumb moments in the film, namely Rosemary DeWitt's character. She sets up a profile on AshleyMadison.com, and her name is BoredWife123. They couldn't even do 987? Bored Wife 987? Really? 1, 2, 3? Why? Okay, there's dumb moments like that. And another thing that really bothered me with this film, it's in the opening scene. The whole thing with the satellite going through space, which I'm pretty sure they blew half of their budget on creating the special effects for those shots in space. That didn't need to be in the movie. And then you have Emma Thompson's narration, which pops up in the beginning, a little bit in the middle, and then in the end. It was completely unnecessary, and I felt it was a very big waste of narration and voiceover. Just wasn't needed at all. It did not do anything for the movie, didn't do anything for me, so it just didn't need to be there. Just completely unnecessary. And I get what they were trying to say, how small the world is, how small we are all in this world, with the whole thing with this video Ansel Elgort's watching, but I just didn't buy into it. Nevertheless, this is a film I thought could have been much better had it been trimmed, had some storylines been cut out, and had the film dropped the narration and the whole thing with the satellites in outer space. Other than that, I think this is a decent film. I think you should check it out at some point, but don't like spend a lot of money to see this movie. But I think it is a film you may or may not connect with, but it's definitely not one of the best films of the year or anything like that. So guys, thank you so much for watching my review of Men, Women, and Children. If you have seen the movie, let me know what you guys thought about it down below in the comments. And I appreciate the feedback. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. I will see you in my next movie review. Bye.